Hey, Janice here, Caribbean Garden Life, and welcome back. We have had a rough couple of weeks here with the weather, from having extreme heat to having extreme rain. So that has really done a number on the garden. But that doesn't mean that things have stopped growing. On the contrary, we still have a bit of a mini harvest, which I'm going to take you through today, as we're transitioning through the seasons. But what they did do with the weather and the rain is that it's made us more susceptible to pests and fungal diseases. So today I'm going to harvest what I can from the garden as we transition into the cooler months, and few weeks, probably a couple of weeks down the line, I'll be planting my cool crops. So this year I experimented with my peppers, with my crops, especially the peppers. I really like growing them. So we've had a combination, especially in this bed, of sweet peppers, standard sweet peppers, big Jim chilies and jalapenos. And what I found is that the jalapenos themselves have been very susceptible to pests, so a lot of aphid damage in comparison to some of the other peppers. So I need to look at whether I have a pest resistant type, or whether I grow them again next year, or allow them to grow to next year, because they have been very problematic in their growing. I'm really pleased that my chocolate habaneros, this was my third time of trying. They haven't quite changed yet, but these are very hot chili pepper. They're chocolate habaneros, they're green here. And this one plant I managed to salvage or grow hasn't been too susceptible to pests or damage, but looks like it's going to have a real good abundance, a real good harvest of habaneros once they start to ripen. Though you could eat them while they're green, I really want to see them turn to chocolate. This is my cubanelles. As you can see, it starts to turn red, and I had a really good harvest of cubanelles, but as you can see, this is the second time I've given. They're actually starting to be susceptible to some sort of disease, some fungus. So I need to treat those. I did cut them back already and it started to come back, but I need to give them another quick treatment to make sure they're okay. And same here, we had some more in here. I think these can't make up what they are, but we think it's a cubanelle again as well. And these are really nice peppers. And finally, the big Jims, who live up to their name, we had them about 7 inches long. And they came in various types of heat. Some were hot, some weren't so hot. So it's a bit of a surprise once you get it. Now, just walking the garden, I can see that the one task I'll have to do very, very shortly is dig up the sweet potatoes. They've been down about 4 months, and it's about time they came up. They've really taken over the bed. I've used them to act as a bit of a mulch, but they have gone a little bit wild in the process. What I've also started doing is growing some different types of peppers. So I've started with some red cherry, the different types of peppers here, red cherry. I have poblanos, cayenne, pepperoncini. But what I've noticed is that these take a lot more care and attention from a disease perspective. So I'll have to come out and give them a little bit more TLC going forward. With the heavy spurt of rain, I've seen the Malabar spinach. This was a volunteer Malabar spinach that needs to come up quite shortly, but the bok choy has done really well, as have the herbs. I have another little quick pepper bed across here. Now you can see this all needs weeding. With the rain comes the weeds, so that will have to be a job I do this weekend. I've got my sorrel coming up really strong there in the corner, and the new bed I prepped, I started growing some beans in here, in amongst the cassava. Wasn't very good with cassava this year. I didn't plant it very well, so I'm having another try, and I've got a few attempts at cassava that I'm quietly optimistic about, but I've sown some beans in between, some golden wax beans in between to use up the space. This is my nursery. This is some more peppers, Scotch bonnets, which this is another type of habanero, a Jamaican type of pepper, which I am quietly optimistic about. I grew them before and they came very, very well. And also some other volunteer peppers for some seeds I found that I knew were pepper seeds, but just didn't know what type of peppers. I've been a glutton for punishment in that I'm trying to grow squash again. I do not have the best track record with squash, but these are my zucchini plants and I am hoping they will start bearing seed. I can see a couple of possibilities, but again, the challenge I have with squashes is that they're just susceptible to powdery mildew, and I just have a rotten time with them. In this bed, as you can see, these are the onions and celery I planted a few weeks ago. I've got some work to do in the bed here to tidy it up because of all the rains again. There's some weeding needed, so they probably need a little bit of water because you need to keep them well watered as well. And as I said, glutton for punishment part 2, I am growing some patty pan squash here. I'm going to try squash again, and because I seem to have better luck with them in containers than I do in the ground. And growing up the fence is a volunteer butternut squash, which seems to be doing really, really well. So I'm going to let it do its thing and just reap the benefit and the reward down the line. So a couple of months ago, I planted what you probably call collards. We call standing spinach or amaranth, but it has just gone gangbusters in the garden. What I didn't really realise was how invasive it can be. These are all the seeds. It's really gone to seed, which I'm going to cut down today, but it's a cut and come again. So each time I cut it, another great big branch comes out. What I've also been able to do though is pick out the lawn before it gets cut is all the volunteer plants. So it's been pretty vigorous, and I didn't need that much to plant. In the the external bed, overflow bed, should I say, what I've grown in here, that's protected from the dogs. So there's more sorrel, there's eggplant in here, and we also have some okra that is really flourishing really well, which I am going to pick today, going to harvest that today. And cucumbers, another squash, another curcubit. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. So I don't have the best track record when it comes to squashes, curcubits, anything like that, because I just find so prone to disease, but so susceptible. But we just got to keep trying. That's what gardening's all about, learning from your mistakes and rectifying it for next time, put new learnings in place. Anyway, I am off to harvest some peppers and some vegetables and see what we've got, and I will share with you what we picked today.